Peace, y'all. So I seen this thing, people's bringing this up about Kanye West is slavery to church. First of all, hear me out, because I know people are going to be mad just off of this title alone, and it's not clickbait. I'm explaining to you why I'm saying that. But first of all, let me say this. I just watched that Kanye West video that he did, or I guess the video he did on TMZ. And for Kanye West, in that context, to go on there and say that on that platform with the particular people that he was speaking to was completely out of line. That is not the context to make a statement. And even the way he made the statement, the way he made the statement, like, it was like half laughing and shit, sitting there talking to some white folks, talking about, I think that's a choice. So I'm not, in no way am I co-signing that, because that is not the proper context to say that, and that's not the proper platform to even say that on. You know what I mean? With the people you're talking to, the way you're setting that up, that's not. Kanye West was wrong to do that, in my opinion. I think that was a bad move. You know, that was a bad move. However, if we separate the context and how he said that and when he said it and the platform he said it on, and if you just came up to me and asked Tory that question, is slavery a choice? The answer is yes. You know, the answer is yes. Now, before we say that, as we say that, because this is something we got to deal with really delicately, we can't, this is not because, for one, we equate, like Kanye said rightfully in that video, whenever you hear slavery, people damn near associate slavery with the antebellum version of slavery that happened right here in America. However, slavery is as old as human beings. You know what I mean? So slavery is something that consistently happened. We were not the only people to experience being enslaved. You know what I mean? A lot of people experience being enslaved. It's just it became a different thing when we were enslaved, just because of the time period and the fact that we were born and new babies and everybody was born into slavery. But I say that to say the concept of surrendering and becoming enslaved is not something that just only we did. But the concept of becoming enslaved, having laws to stay in over year after year by year, every single person is enslaved and it becomes color-coded. That's something that only we dealt with, okay? And we have to look at the framing of the question. And I need you to understand what I mean when I say that. Is slavery a choice? I'm not saying like niggas just got out one day and just said, oh yeah, I'll take some slavery. You know what I mean? Like we chose to do it. No. We were the victims of the situation. Make no mistake. But this is what I mean when I say slavery is a choice, right? So let's say, for instance, I walk out my door right now. If I walk out my door and then, I don't check my corners, which I always check my corners, by the way, but let's say I walk out the door and I'm not watching what's going on and somebody creep up on me and they put a gun on me, right? At that moment, I'm outgunned. He has to drop on me. All he has to do is shoot and I'm dead, right? So I have what? A choice to make on how I'm going to handle that situation, right? And then I'll give you a different situation. It could be two men, right? I come up there, and two men draw down on me, and they both got guns on me from like different angles. It may be a little difficult for me to reach them. So the moment they put those guns up, it's a lot of different things I could do, right? I could try to run back in the house, or I could try to go after him and do some karate shit that I don't know, you know what I mean, to try to take the guns or whatever. Or you can do what? Make the what? Choice to surrender. You know what I mean? And if it's me, in that situation, two dudes got the drop on me. I don't have my gun, and if I do have it, I don't have it to where I can grab my gun right at that moment, right? So the choice in that situation that I would make would be to surrender, right? Just because I'm saying yes, slavery is a choice, we got to keep in the context. It doesn't necessarily mean always that it's the wrong choice. But in that situation I just gave you, I'm outgunned. Two people got guns on me. I'm going to make what? The choice to surrender, right? And that's just a choice I'm making. And let's say, for instance, they say, all right, surrender. All right, cool. Now come in, walk with me over here. I'm all right, cool. I'm walking now, right? Even though I made the choice to surrender, does not mean that mentally I've given up. My mentality and the attitude I'm bringing into that situation constantly is going to be, what? I'm getting out of this bitch as soon as possible. But that does not mean I did not make the choice to surrender. Right now, let's say they walk me to the car and then they say, all right, cool, right? And then they walk me, let's say, they get here, they get me to the trunk and they say, all right, cool, now get in this trunk. I got the same two men drawing down on me. They both got weapons pointing at guns pointing at me, right? At that point, now you could do whoever, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying for me, my choice to surrender at that point is over. I'm not hopping in no trunk because I feel like if I hop in the trunk, I'm not getting out of the trunk. So at that point, I'm going to take away my choice to surrender and I'm going to go for their guns and go and try to fight them. Now, likely looking at the situation, most likely I'm going to be killed if that's the situation. And if you're looking at it, you got two dudes on you with guns, more than likely they're going to kill you. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm just telling you, for me, I'll make the choice to die, and I'll be okay if I died in that situation because I feel like if I get in there, it's just as good as being dead. Why do I bring up this example? Because that is the same. That's the same situation, whatever the stressor is, like whatever leverage someone has. In my example, it's guns. In the example of like us back in the time, they had guns, they had resources, they had all the kind of different things against you. So they have that same leverage that the two men that have the drop on me have. And in a certain case like that, it makes sense for you to make the choice to surrender, right? I was speaking with somebody earlier and they were just saying like, but what is the point of saying something like that? Because there's dangers behind it. And I'm going to get to, what's dangerous about seeing something. I'm going to get to what the dangers behind expressing that, especially the way Kanye West did it, which, if you just joined us, was out of line. But there's a upside to us being candid and being very clear about something because this is not a subjective opinion. Surrender is a choice. To remain enslaved is a choice. I'm going to read what you're saying in a minute too, Destiny. Right? Because if we say that it's not a choice, what we're doing is disregarding all those who made the choice to resist and die, to resist and try to escape, to resist. There was a lot of people who made that choice. There was people who jumped off the ships. While we were still on the continent, it was certain sisters, if they took their husband, they'll run up into them trying to fight the dude and do whatever they could, even though they knew they were going to commit suicide. It essentially could be suicide. So the people actually did make the choice to go in a different direction. This does not mean our ancestors and our descendants and us to this day are necessarily wrong. It doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. I'm just saying it's important for you to realize and always remember, you do have a choice. You do have a choice. And you don't have to stay in any enslavement, in any situation, under any level of bondage. I mean, if your hands, your ankles, and everything is tied and you can't do nothing, that's one thing. But if you're in a situation, you can always make the choice to get out of the situation, even if it may mean that you have to risk death. Just because you have to risk death doesn't mean you don't have a choice, because you have a choice to fucking die if you want to. Suicide is an option. Going out and killing, going out in a blaze of damn glory, or believing in yourself and saying, look, well, we're gonna get out here. Look, it's me, you, and her right here, and I see 7 crackers over there, and goddamn it, I like my chances. That's a choice that you have. And even if you are enslaved, that is a choice that you have. And am I here to tell you and disrespect our ancestors, the ones who have constantly fighting, the ones whose legacy I carry on today? I'm not here to disrespect them and make it as if there was no one who did not want to be free. That's not the point that I'm making. The point I'm making is we can never let go. And it's important that we understand you are, no matter what your circumstance, you always have a choice, man. You always have a choice. And looking back at our history and looking at it realistically, we can't put ourselves in their shoes, but what we can do is we can look and realize that, listen, it may be it's 2, 3, 4 men pointing at me with guns, and it's just me. I can't get to my gun and I can't get away. Damn it, the best choice right now just might be to surrender for now. You know what I'm saying? When does it become a problem? When you surrender mentally. That's when it becomes a problem. When you surrender mentally, when you give away, when you give it up, right? You could put me in bondage. That doesn't mean you have to enslave my mind. Because once you enslave my mind, he said we didn't have a choice, bottom line. I'll get to that in a minute. You must have just got in here. But when you surrender mentally, now these dudes that's walking, that got the drop on me, that's pointing these guns at me, even when they give me a chance to run, I'm not going to see it as a chance to run because I no longer want to be free. And a big part of me not wanting to get free, a big part of me not wanting to make that choice, a big part of me not giving up and saying that is what? One of the biggest parts is because I thought I didn't have a damn choice. Because I thought I didn't have a choice. Oh, you don't got a choice. They're going to kill you. So fucking what? If you had, listen, and I'm not saying my ancestors, I'm just telling you, that's not always a damn option. If somebody has my daughter over here, okay, gun to my head, knife to her throat, right this moment might not be the damn chance for me to do it, but you damn believe, as soon as I get the opportunity to, I will. And if I have to fall on a fucking knife and a grenade to do it, I'm gonna fucking do it. And if I don't, I'm never gonna say I didn't have a choice. We have to realize we have a choice. Again, I'm gonna bring this back because I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, I'm not gonna spit on our ancestors' grave and act as if, like they just wanted to do it, because a lot of them had the same spirit that I have now. I could run out with a blaze of glory and shoot the police up right now, but I'm looking at the situation logically and saying that's not the best that's not the best route to take. You know what I'm saying? And it's not always the best route to take. So I'm making the choice to still be in this situation where we're basically subjugated, a domestic colony here. I'm making that choice, but I will acknowledge that it is a choice. And that's all I'm saying is, we got to acknowledge that it is a choice, regardless of the fact. Let's see here. Destiny said, the Indians committed suicide to avoid being slaves. So I guess I get what you're saying. It's just a hard pill to swallow. Yeah, that's a fact. And a lot of our ancestors committed suicide to prevent being enslaved. It was sisters who were, they were trying to force certain sisters to breed. And, they'll set them up, breed them, or either rape them. And they would commit suicide, they were killing the babies using herbal remedies and different shit, performing their own self-abortions just to say, no, you're not using me for that. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of people say, hey, well, you have to, they're going to take this away, but they didn't give a fuck about that. They said, look, no matter what, you're not using me for that. And you always have that right, or that ability, that choice to put your foot down like that. Destiny also said, he should have said survival was the choice of the Africans, not slavery. Oh, yeah, I'm glad you said that too. Survival was the choice. Yeah. Survival was the choice. Like I said, that's true. Maybe. Depends. Again, in my example, if the three dudes got the drop on me with the gun, I'm just feigning like I surrender, but I really don't surrender. I'm trying to get free as soon as possible. And that's, I think, was the case for a lot of people. And people like Nat Turner and other many slave rebellions and all these different things prove that. It was people that was, look, we going to sit around here and do this right now, but that's because we planning to get your ass as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Let's see here. He said, 400 years ago, we didn't have a choice, bottom line. No, you always have a choice, man. You always have a choice. Listen, if we're fighting a war, right? And let's say it starts out 20 against 10. We got 10, they got 20. They get to picking us off, they shooting us. Eventually, we're going to get to a point where we have to make the choice to surrender. Or I could be back there telling people, look, ain't no fucking surrender. If you dying, you better take 2 of them with you. And you could go out there. And people don't went out like that. Said it goes to the story of the tied up elephant. If you grew up tied to a pole as a baby, when you aren't tied to a pole anymore, you're still gonna stay there. Yeah, that's learned helplessness. No doubt. What else was I gonna say? You have reminded me of something a second ago, Destiny. Let me see if I can remember it. He said it was a choice. Survival of Africans was not a choice. That's what I was gonna say. It's just, look. Black Americans in this country ain't free now. You know what I'm saying? We never got our freedom. We never got control fully of our destiny. And it's a whole lot of people that have a problem with that and still want to be free and still feel like freedom fighters and still want to fight and still want to change that situation. You know what I mean? For us. And it's a whole lot of motherfuckers right now to this day, because you can make the analogy of us still being to a degree enslaved. Now I know people, this ain't slavery, look at you, right? This ain't slavery. Okay, I'm not saying it's the same exact thing. I'm saying look at the power relationship. Look how little power that we have. Look at the condition and the state that we're in. And a lot of people right now are making the choice to stay in this condition, man. They're making that same choice. So again, if anybody got no questions or nothing, I pretty much said what I had to say. Is slavery a choice? Yes. Yes, it is. We don't ever want to disrespect our ancestors and make it as if they just wanted to do it. They didn't. They did it done under severe duress, you know what I mean? And the culprits, the people who did this to us are the Europeans here that are still over us to this day. A lot of y'all love and all of that, you know? So that's just the reality. However, you do have a choice on whether or not you want to choose to surrender. You also have a choice on why you choose to surrender. Me personally, I'm not going to run in there guns blazing at this very moment because I don't think it would be the most effective way to free us. But if I felt like it was my only option, and I felt like, or if I was in a certain situation, I would run out, blaze glory, and fucking die. And I will never, ever tell myself or anybody else that that is not a choice. Oh, real quick. Okay, so he said, first of all, people always fought back however they could. So many results are lost to history because of course, no one wants to document that. We are taught lies, the biggest of which is slavery was abolished. That's a great point, too. Slavery has not been abolished according to the 13th Amendment. We always got to keep that in mind. And absolutely, and I hope I've been clear with the fact that I don't want to misrepresent the fact that everybody was not, first of all, didn't want to make the choice. Sometimes, man, you get two bad options. You know what I mean? You may get 2, 3 bad options. I'm not saying they wanted to make the choice. I'm not saying they accepted the condition. I'm never going to say that because too many of us didn't, and I don't to this day. However, we have to, if we say we didn't have a choice, then what the fuck did Nat Turner do? Like, if we say we didn't have a choice, what did Harriet Tubman do? I mean, if we don't have a choice, what about the people who defected from it? What about the slave that got away? You know what I'm saying? What about the one that escaped it in death on top of the master's dead body? If we don't have a choice, what was that? That's just a figment of our imagination? Or the white man made us do that? The white man made us kill him? He made us get free? If you know what I'm saying? So you got to look at it. It's not just, now again, for those that just came in, I'm not co-signing with what Kanye did. That was wrong. The context in which he said it, the platform he's saying on, the people he's talking to, and the tone and he's like just talking like damn near laughing. No. You don't do nothing like that. He was off base. But again, like I said, if you ask me, is it a choice? Yes, it's a choice. It doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. It doesn't mean it's a choice you wanted, but it is a choice. Let's see, the last thing here before I end this here. Destiny said, also, a choice takes time. If I want to be a doctor, I make a choice, and that choice I made coincide with time, meaning 8 years to be a doctor. Yeah, he said, in this case, free took 400 years to manifest. Yeah, well, we need some more time. I don't know if I would say we free, but you're making a great point. Again, and it also goes back to my example. 2 dudes draw down on me with guns. We might be walking around, or they might even get me in a certain way and actually capture me. And I might be captured, tied up in bondage, and for a minute, for a period of time, putting my plan together. They might have me in bondage for 4 years. And then on year 4.5, you know what I'm saying? I might break away. So, I mean, she's bringing up a good point. He said, how did the Indians commit suicide? How did the Indians commit suicide, then be slaves? Please don't say jumped aboard slave ships. because then you have to explain how all of those Indians were running around united on slave ships to begin with. All right, I ain't really understand what you're saying. But yeah, I'm gonna end this here, man. Like I said, I hope I was clear on what I was saying. I know some people just gonna be mad at the title, but that's how I feel about the situation, man. Peace.